Emily Haynes is the vocalist for the Canadian band Metric. Her outfit is based on the artwork for her solo album Choir of the Mind. Siegfried was the most applicable moveset simply because one of his weapons looks similar to the bat that she holds in the cover. Gwen Stefani is primarily the vocalist for the band No Doubt, among other things. Her outfit is based on the artwork for the Tragic Kingdom album. Note, if you will, the orange in her left hand. Adolf Hitler was the infamous Chancellor of Germany during World War II. His notoriety made him a perfect target for a custom character. My sister once told me that every Wii needed to have a Hitler me on it, so I expanded that into SoulCalibur for this instance. Ringo Starr is the drummer and occasional vocalist for the Beatles. Of the group, I find that I like Ringo much more than the others. His outfit, as you may be able to guess, is based on the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band cover. In my mind, Taki's weapons are almost similar to drumsticks, so if you think about it, it makes sense. Aang is the protagonist for the Nickelodeon cartoon Avatar: The Last Airbender. In my opinion, the creator did a damn good job with his character. Ayane is one of the main characters in the Dead or Alive series. This incarnation is based on her appearance in Dead or Alive 6. Bane, at least this version, is from The Dark Knight Rises. He is a big guy. Or you. One must wonder, though, about his reasons for wearing the mask. Cammy is from the Street Fighter series. My experience with these games is minor at best, but I do remember Cammy as being the most fun character that I have played. I have no idea why the creator made her so much larger than the other characters, but, oh well. The Handler is the resident annoyance from Monster Hunter World. I sure wish that she would stop talking about food. Seto Kaiba hails from Yu-Gi-Oh! And is doubtlessly the best character. It is said that his wealth allows him to screw the rules as much as he sees fit. Sir Daniel Fortescue is the protagonist of the Medieval series. Despite only playing a demo for the second game many years ago, I feel a very strong affinity for him. Wendy is, as you may guess, the mascot for the fast food chain Wendy's. I like their stores quite a bit, although I'm not sure how much I approve of this interpretation. Ghost is the online persona and host of True Capitalist Radio and, more recently, The Ghost Show. A self-proclaimed melting pot of friendship, he is a capitalist and he deserves the respect accorded that title. The thoughts, views, ideas, and opinions of the host are absolutely his. Hanako is one of the heroines of the visual novel Katawa Shoujo. She is, objectively speaking, the correct choice. In your heart, you know that I'm right. She may or may not want the chocolate. Kizuna Ai is the original virtual YouTuber. I have to wonder how many weeb points I earned for including her in this. Lu Bu is a legendary Chinese warrior, this time based around his appearance in the Dynasty Warriors games. Pursuing him is not recommended. Lu Lingqi is the fictional daughter of Lu Bu, again based upon her appearance in the Dynasty Warriors games. Her inclusion is almost entirely due to her, unique status among some parts of the Musou community. No Shack is included with this character. Mara Jade is from the sadly no longer canon Star Wars Expanded Universe, and was introduced in the novel Heir to the Empire. I'm not going to bore you with all of the lore, but I'll simply say that she is, to this day, my favorite Star Wars character, and I'll leave it at that. Shiki is one of the characters from the Gessen faction in the Senran Kagura games. Some of her attacks include summoning bats, which is why I opted to have a makeshift one in her design. Grand Admiral Thrawn is also from the Star Wars Expanded Universe, but Disney saw fit to bring him back into canon once more. His intellect was unmatched, and he falls only slightly behind Mara in terms of my favorites. I really disagree with Disney bringing him back though. Disney simply cannot do him justice. Aqua is from the Kingdom Hearts series, more specifically Birth by Sleep. I would make some kind of a joke about her being Norded, but that isn't really relevant anymore. Or, as it turns out, accurate. Ella is one of the operators in Rainbow Six Siege, introduced after the disastrous Operation Health. She was the only operator that I felt like I could recreate well, even though I really don't like her that much. Gakuto is indeed from the anime and manga series Prison School. That thing on his head is meant to be the bottle rocket that he referred to as PBR-sama. I gave him this weapon because it's somewhat similar to Guan Yu's weapon, and Gakuto is a huge fan of the Three Kingdoms period. Haruhi is from the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. You may ask why I refer to her as Haruhi when the game insists that it's Xianghua. The simple fact is that they share the same voice actor, Wendy Lee. I figured that it would be interesting to do something like this as a result. Joker is the alias of the Persona 5 protagonist. As with Haruhi, Joker shares a voice actor with Gro, this one being Xander Movis, so I did the same thing. Plus, the moveset is reminiscent of Persona. Moonman is... yeah... it's a corruption of the Mac Tonight character from old McDonald's advertising. Rather than getting into all of the sordid details, let's just say that he and Der Fuhrer would get along quite well and leave it at that. Rixadentorin Red Pastinus is one of the protagonists from the Empire of Storms book trilogy. He has an uncanny affinity for stealth and is edgy as fuck. Robin is the default male variant of the avatar for Fire Emblem Awakening, based heavily on his appearance in Super Smash Bros. I gotta admit, I am disproportionately happy about the tome in his hand. Now that's strategy. Ajin started out as one of my custom officers in Dynasty Warriors 6 Empires. I don't really remember much of anything about why I designed her this way back then, or why I named her what I did, or really most of it. It was, after all, 10 years ago. Alith is a recurring character that I have made in every SoulCalibur starting with 4. She was the first one I ever made, in fact, and you can see the, sensibilities of a 15-year-old boy in her aesthetics. I took the name from one of the side characters in Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. With the release of the first custom parts pack, I decided that I wanted to make a pirate, and was the result. Bruce was a very deliberate character. My friend and I made very similar characters with the intention of taking them online and disrespecting the people who were very clearly playing their waifus. Yes, we are both quite aware of the hypocrisy in these actions. Don McGlass, a very creative name I know, is based upon my favorite character to play as in For Honor, the Highlander. This is the way that I've customized my character in that game, and I admit this is only very loosely what I would consider an OC. Theta is what I named my fighter in Disgaea 5. Meaning that, again, this is only very loosely an OC. A fun fact, Theta means vendetta in German. Jiang Mai was the very first character that I made in Dynasty Warriors 6 Empires. Essentially the first game that I played that had access to a character creator. Her name is the result of a 14-year-old attempting very hard to make a vaguely Chinese-sounding name. mistakes were made. Opie is another Disgaea 5 character, this time a magic knight. In Japanese, Opie refers to big breasts. Why yes, I am in fact a very mature person. America-chan has a bit of a different backstory. I was unsure one day of what sort of character I should make, when one of my friends simply told me that I should make a waifu. After a moment or two of deliberation, I ended up making America-chan, who is the best girl hands down. They call him Boss. The name and idea came from a blaxploitation film, but the execution was all me. You can thank Ghost for making this movie more widely known, and for revealing it to me in particular. Not strictly from anything in particular, Erica was heavily inspired by the World War II song of the same name. For exposing me to that, you can blame Paul. Falcon Crawler is what happened when I wanted to make a character that was different from any of the other ones that I had. So I took an approach that was inspired by some school spirit for good old Bowling Green State University. Falcon Crawler means Falcon's talent, by the way. The Gold Warrior is somewhat of a running joke for my friends. I find the image of a warrior decked out all in gold to be quite striking, and this was inspired by an old webcomic about Dynasty Warriors. Before you say anything, it has absolutely nothing to do with Game of Thrones. The Gelb Krieger was the result of a desire to make yet another knight from some of the newly introduced armor pieces. He follows the aesthetic of the Golden Warrior, and once again, I've leaned on German for the name, this time literally translating to Yellow Fighter. Oh yes, Mortimer. What else can I say? The appeal of a skeleton butler cannot be overstated. I took the name from The Sims and perhaps some of the imagery too because of the skeleton maids from the first game's expansion pack. The inspiration for Reflex went a little something like this. Almost all of my characters are simply normal humans, so I figured that it might be fun to branch out a little bit. As far as the name is concerned, Reflex is an altered version of Reflections, which came about because she is kinda shiny.